Okay, so I bought this super gaudy Chinese fountain pen, the Jinhao 100. I don't know why I bought it. However, I really love writing with it. It has a very nice nib on it. It was very inexpensive. Anyway, it's made out of acrylic, which feels really nice, and it's something that I work with pretty much all the time at work, although not on pens. And I dropped it the other day and broke this back part off, and so I thought I would just do a quick little video on how to repair a cracked, either all the way through or just cracks without splitting, cracked acrylic fountain pen, or really anything acrylic. So first thing I'm going to do is take this apart. So then I have the barrel and this piece that goes in it, and I believe this guy goes here. And originally this piece screwed into the back and then was joined with some glue, maybe an acrylic cement or something else. Anyway, it didn't screw out when I bought it, so I assume it was bonded. Anyway, to glue acrylic, the thing that people know is this product, Weld-On 3. They also make it up to, I believe, Weld-On 16, which specifies sort of the drying time and the viscosity. So the lower the number, the faster it's going to dry, and the less viscous it is. So to work with this stuff, you really want a squeeze syringe needle applicator. I believe these are like a 0.9 millimeter tip, but you can get different bayonet lock tips for these guys. Not super important. Anyway, you want to work with gloves. These gloves will be eaten away by this solvent, and Weld-On is more of a weld than a glue. Cyanoacrylate would work, but not nearly as well. So what Weld-On does is it melts the acrylic back to itself. And it is so thin that it basically just wicks in to where you want it. So I'm going to try and not get it on the exterior of the pen because it might melt, although I don't really care aesthetically, but let's make this a decent tutorial. And you want to push it together and just squirt some of this in there to tack it together. And it's very thin. I usually do work on a PVC cutting mat, but this solvent will dissolve it, or at least the paint on it, so I put some paper here. Anyway, you just sort of push it together, make sure it's aligned, and squirt some of that solvent in there. Kind of turn it around so that the solvent gets where it needs to. It's starting to stick. Let's squirt some more in there. Really dissolve. Oops, got some on the threads. Well, that's not going to be good. Okay, I can feel it starting to stick. Again, you don't really want to get this solvent on the outside of the pen. If you care about your pen, this is a cheap fountain pen. I don't really care what it looks like. I actually think it was pretty ugly when it was new, but writes wonderfully. Anyway, I'm just continuing to put pressure here while it's aligned, and then turn it around so any solvent inside of the barrel can work its way into the cracks, and it'll just suck into the crack through capillary action. You don't really coat things with this. Maybe with a Weld-On 16 that's a more viscous material you would, but with this guy you just push the pieces together and squirt some of this solvent in. Do a little bit more just to make sure, oops, we get a nice sort of coating in there. I don't see any leaking out, which is a good sign. Do I have this on straight? It looks pretty straight to me. It does not smell good. This is maybe something you want to do outside or with a respirator or good ventilation. I'm doing it in a well-ventilated shop with just a little bit of solvent and gloves. Okay. Give that a few minutes to set and we will take a look at it. Okay, and basically it's all bonded back together. You can also use this to weld cracks back together by squeezing the crack together and filling the inside of the pen and sort of sloshing the solvent around. I don't know if you can see this. I kind of marred the shiny finish on the outside here by doing a sloppy job and getting some solvent on this guy. I'm sure you could polish that out, but you don't want to get solvent on the outside. You also don't want to mask with like masking tape because well done is so thin it will get sucked between the mask and the thing. You just really want to be careful. Anyway, this guy's back together one piece. So thanks for watching, and I hope this helps some people fix maybe their own fountain pen.